Welcome to Rev Up Your Business with Hilda Gann, the podcast for people-centric leaders, business owners, and HR professionals who know that people are at the heart of business success. Join me and industry experts as we explore the key aspects of building a thriving company, sharing cutting-edge strategies, impactful insights, and the latest trends to help you ignite your business growth. It's time to rev up your leadership, rev up your success. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Rev Up Your Business. Today I have with me David Solomon. He is the founder of SERO Growth, a company that helps businesses and organizations achieve their strategic and revenue growth objectives. David is an accomplished strategist and a lecturer with a 30-year track record of driving growth and expansion for SMEs across various sectors. His expertise in crafting actionable go-to-market strategies has consistently led to increased annual sales and market penetration. Holding an MBA in strategy from McGill University, where he also lectures, David's approach is both practical and inspirational with actionable business growth strategies. I am so looking forward to learning more about your approach, David, as we focus today on unlocking business growth, the 3 questions you need to ask. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Hilda. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you, David, because you are the first fractional CRO that I've met. Now, CRO stands for Chief Revenue Officer. That means bringing in the money.
That's right.
So let's address the elephant in the room. Your company, and people can who are viewing can see it's SERO, SERO, but it also sounds like zero growth.
Yep.
So like, what is a person who's trying to help build revenue doing with a company name like SERO Growth?
Well, first of all, thank you, Hilda. I appreciate it. And that elephant in the room, as you called it, is something that I really want people to start thinking about. Because when you're talking about chief revenue officers, what are we really solving? We're solving a problem. We're solving a growth problem. And so SERO is Latin for serum, which is the medicine, the cure for what ails. And so I hope to bring along the medicine that will help cure that companies get stuck. Also, SERO is kind of a play on CRO. So, I wanted people to have that. The reason I didn't use CRO and I use SERO, and you'll see that my S and the E, for those who are watching this podcast, and you're more than welcome to go to my website and see it, the S and the E are kind of meshed into each other. And the reason I did that was S is for strategy, E is for execution. And you don't have both, you can't grow effectively. So what me and my team, that's wonderful English, what we do is we develop the right strategy, and then we accompany them with the right execution, and we adapt the strategy and the execution. So it's constantly going back and forth, and any good chief revenue officer is doing that on a regular basis. So why fractional is simply, you don't need me full-time. You don't need my team full-time. You need us to come up with that opportunity, grow. It's like medicine. You only take the medicine for such a period of time, and then you're healthy again. Once we cure, once we figure it out, once we execute, you can run on your own until the next time, until we figure out the next obstacle that you need.
I appreciate the thoughtfulness that you put into the name of your company and even the way you've created your logo, that branding. But again, it is, I guess it's a conversation piece. People
It's a
want
starter.
to know,
Absolutely.
right? It's a starter.
People come to me and say to me, David, it sounds like zero. I go, great. And they're like, what? The shock value. And I'm like, let's have a chat. Let me explain to you my story. And then people understand where we're coming from. Our philosophy is really about both strategy and execution. It's both about figuring out what the problem is and how to fix it. And it could be a problem, could be a challenge or whatever. And I know we're going to get into this today, but really we don't stop until we really cure your growth challenges. And that's our mindset.
And I love how your business name, The Conversation, is helping people think about using your services. I had a coach once, and it's a valuable lesson, and people who've heard my podcast before may remember this, but people don't buy vitamins. Oh, I can sell you this, he'll make you better and brighter and whatever. People buy pain pills.
Right.
And your serum, to use your analogy, is a pain pill. It's a reliever of a symptom or a problem. So this is all weaving in, and it's a great strategy. It's a great branding, and kudos to you.
Thank you.
So let's get into it. We said we're going to talk about unlocking business growth and 3 questions you need to ask. This was important for you to share to our listeners and viewers. So what are those 3 strategies? And then we'll get down deep into each one of them.
So it's a great question. And what I tell business owners in our first conversation is I need you to really reflect with you and your team on 3 things before we even go forward. Number 1, what is the problem that your business or services is your product or service is solving? Really, can you define for me that problem? And every client, every business has a pain point. What is it? What are you trying to, let's use my term, cure? The second thing is what makes what you offer really unique? What makes you stand out above the competition? And then the last thing is, for whom are you doing this for? Essentially, who is the ideal person, company, target you're trying to reach? When you answer those 3, growth becomes way easier. If you don't have all 3, growth becomes exceptionally challenging, and you might throw resources in the wrong direction. And as a result, your growth won't be what you want, and it could actually hurt and damage your company rather than achieve the growth that you're looking for.
Yeah, I find that the clearer you are about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and who are your ideal clients, the better you can focus on those growth and the revenue for it. When I was chairing a women's network, like a women's group, every month this person came in, she had a new idea, a new strategy. She just met somebody, and now she's going to get into the benefit world. She just met somebody next month, and now she's going to add, training to this. And going, really? Month by month, you look all over the place, right? So let's dive into that. What pain point do you solve for your company? And you said that's one of the key questions people need to ask themselves as they're growing.
And it's funny because you talk about what I used to call spamitis. I'm spamming, I'm trying to do everything for everybody and hoping something sticks. And as this is going to turn into a medical show. But reality is that the problem that we need to figure out what is the problem. And I'll give you an example of one of my clients who's in the construction industry. And I asked him, what are you doing? Like, what are you solving? Because you're selling this expensive equipment. It's a large asset. There's a whole bunch of you out there. Like, what are you doing? What is the problem? And I really drilled him down. I drilled him down until, I got a sentence and I went, okay, now that's the problem you're solving. And why are we doing that is twofold. Number 1, the sales team needs to understand why we're doing this. Like, why did we come up with this company? Why do we have these products and services? And it's because there's this one pain point that we're galvanized around solving. Simon Sinek will talk about your why, and it generally revolves around your desire to solve this pain point. And so what is it? And if you can define it, you'll find the clients that have that problem. So it's not like I have an idea, let me try to figure out who's going to want it. What does this industry, this category, this business group, whatever it is, they're stuck somewhere. And what is the pain point? And a lot of times people say, oh, pain point is price. No. That's not the pain point.
It is a little bit, but yes.
But if you're starting at price, what I tell everybody is really simple. And we'll talk about uniqueness in a second. You can only be the cheapest, and then tell somebody else is the cheapest. It's not the pain point. The pain point is they really have an obstacle, and your product or service has a solution that will make it better, make them more efficient, work faster, better. Somewhere along the line, you're solving their issue. And even if you're selling widgets, Hilda, your widgets might be, oh, we can install these widgets better because the businesses have a problem because they don't have the right tool. You got to dig deep, and then the tighter you can get with figuring out that pain point, the clearer your delivery of why and how you're solving the problem becomes. And that's really, really where I want people to start. Because if you don't have that clearly defined, you're not going to be able to convey to people the next two parts.
So how do you help them, David, to narrow down that pain point? Because I think as when you're starting out early in your business, you want to be everything to everybody, and you don't even know what your uniqueness is. What is your unique value proposition? Why are you better than every other construction company that's going to come and approach me as a business owner, for example?
Hilda, you said something there, and I'd like to adjust the statement. The words you can't. Absolutely, you can actually get an idea. And if you did a business plan before you launched your company, and you've done the homework and you've done the research, you found something that you're offering that wow, the industry or the businesses want this. Now, you may not be perfect yet when you start, because you're going to learn and you're going to adapt. But if you're just a Me Too company, and Hilda, I tell this to my students, if you're a Me Too company, then there's nothing, you're not solving a problem.
Oh, I get it. Me too, me too.
Me
Gotcha.
too, me too. I got the same thing like the other guy. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, but what I figured out is you have this problem. I'm sorry for those who didn't see my square that I created, because you're listening to this on an audio. I'm solving this problem. I'm very, very tight. Now, it might take me 3, 4, 5 years to figure out exactly what that is, because I'm sitting with my customers. Now, how do I figure this out? At the beginning, it's hard. I got you. You started, you're learning, whatever. But after 3, 4, 5 years, as a business owner, go sit with your clients and ask them the question, what have we solved? Why and how?
Yeah.
They'll tell you. They'll be ecstatic to tell you, because they have that loyalty. You've been a great partner, not a supplier, partner.
Yeah.
And they're willing to make you better.
Yeah.
Find out. They have the answers. And you'll see a common thread. If you call 10, 20, 30 of your clients, there's a commonality that's going to come. Yeah, there's an outlier. But the commonality from those 10 to 30 odd people you'll speak to, you're going to go, there is the pain point that we have solved. And so it's an iterative process, Hilda. You've got to keep doing it to get better.
And it's interesting, I'll share a little bit about my journey then. When you grow, you just get clearer and clearer. And when you talk to your clients why they chose you, it even comes more crystal clear. My husband and I had our own engineering company. I did the ops side of stuff, and then chose to do human resources, because this is where I feel people don't have the skills and knowledge, but I can help provide that, and that's going to help. So when I first shared it, like, I've been a businesswoman for like 20 plus years kind of thing. So I said, I provide pragmatic solutions from an HR perspective. But pragmatic is because of my business experience. And then as I kept growing the company and getting more and more clients, what I heard was, I want to hire you, Hilda, because yes, you're going to do the HR stuff, but you know what it's like to be a business owner. You know the sleepless nights and why. And you've grown successfully from 2 to 125. I want to go there. You know the roadmap. You got the HR. I'm hiring you. And so price wasn't like, oh, well, I'm not the cheapest, but they understand the value, because I will minimize the risk, because I've been where they've been and I know where they're going and I can help them. So it is a journey. It is about learning and fine tuning and then being able to articulate it in a way that now makes more sense to me and to my clients. Because I started off with, I give you pragmatic solutions. And that's that's not the same as, I give you a business-minded
Right.
solution to HR. Totally, totally another level, I think.
Got it. Makes sense.
So we've addressed the pain point now, and people are getting more articulate. The other thing you said was, who is your ideal customer?
Well, actually, before I get to the ideal customer, it's your uniqueness. Now, you figured out the pain point.
Hmm.
What's in your solution that's unique? Now, we'll get to the ideal customer because they're
Okay,
related
yes,
to each other.
go for it.
But for me, what I talk to them about is before you figure out who the ideal customer is, it's kind of like almost putting a circle through a square. You figured out the problem, and the problem is X.
Hmm.
What's your solution? And solution Y is going to address the pain point. Now, here's the catch. Again, and we talked about this a second ago, price does have a factor. It is not the factor. You can't make it the factor because it's not sustainable as a uniqueness. It can be part of it, but it can't be the core. So the most successful organizations offer a uniqueness to them. One of the things I tell my students is, like, I take a look at Apple computers. Apple, not Apple computers anymore. That shows you how old I am. Apple, what are they selling you? They're selling you simplicity amongst all of your devices. The uniqueness is the ability that everything you do is connected, and it tries to give you a seamless and simple working environment or playing environment or whatever it is. They're not the cheapest by far. Apple does not offer cheap products, but what they're offering you is peace of mind. They're offering you a simple, and so the uniqueness of it, and I could drill down even further, but we don't have enough time for that. When you're a small business and you're going to your customer, what do you offer? Now, I'll go back to this construction supplies company. We had this hour-long conversation because we addressed, well, if it does this, what does it do better? And we went through the whole product line. And I went item by item and feature by feature, and none of it was unique. None of it. So I said, so what makes you unique? What could you provide your customers that your competitors cannot? And what we drilled down to was service. And this is an interesting thing: it works the same as everything else. It does, but what all the businesses do not do well is provide elite service. I said, so there we go. Let's focus on your unique selling, your unique value proposition is the service end. Let's own it. Let's be the leaders in that area. And we came up with ideas and concepts with it, and they loved and embraced the idea because the realization was they literally were selling a Me Too product exactly like everybody else. Yes, the parts were slightly better, more accessible, but it didn't scream uniqueness. But service, we realized when we looked at the competition, we can be number one in this and own it. And that would make a difference. And now the solution becomes more attractive.
Yeah.
That's really the key. So even if you're not 100% sure of what your uniqueness is, find something. Because otherwise, I liken it to laundromats. If you go to a laundromat in your corner, they have machines, they take coins, they might take whatever. There's nothing exciting in you other than the fact that they're in your neighborhood. It can be that simple, folks. You don't have to be sexy with the uniqueness.
Yep. Yep. All of a sudden, my brain is saying, I was reminded by a physician who decided in his schooling, what do I want to be? You got to have a shtick, Hilda. You got to, and I went to a Jewish high school. You got to have a shtick. And then he decided that he was going to specialize in diabetes because he felt that was the future that was there. And you got to have, if I can add, you got to do something that's passionate. So don't look for something unique that you just don't like to do. Find something that's unique that you love to do, because when you love something, when you're passionate about something, it shows.
Right.
And when you share your enthusiasm for service in this example, I'll feel that. I'll feel that it's genuine, and I'll feel that's a relationship I want to build. For me, when we were using suppliers and subconsultants, it was always about how did that relationship feel? I would not trade something for, oh, I can give you a better price and I can give you a this. If the relationship is working and I trust you and I value your service, your incremental price changes, your will not deter me from this if the relationship is strong. So find your passion because it will show. It will show.
If I may add, one of the things that I try to tell everybody is, look, everybody has a partner for what you're offering, or what you're asking them to invest in could be significant, and it's a really tough decision. So if you wanted to change partners, right? Change suppliers, let's call it. What are you going to do? Because remember, the impact of change you might think is not big, but it could be big for them, for your client. So you got to make it worth their while. And if they're going to invest, as I said, with this construction company, big bucks, they're going to go and they're going to make sure that their decision is beyond super perfect. And therefore, don't lead them to think of what your value is. Make it expressly clear what your value is and what problem you're solving with it, so that their decision is easier. And that's the two areas. So when you think like that, like to your point, now the relationship is enhanced because I'm making a significant change or I'm making a significant investment, and you're going to make it easier or better for me. And if I don't have that, I'm not going to go with you. I'm going to go with somebody else. So that's why I tell everybody, start at least with those two. And when you express it to the clients of what you do well, and look, we've done it with this, it makes it way easier for your sales team to really create new relationships with new clients.
Right. And you're right. It makes sense. You figure out what the pain point is, what problem you're going to solve. But then you find out, how do you do it better so that your clients or customers want to buy from you?
And better from the client's perspective, not necessarily your perspective.
Right. And then you think, well, now what are my ideal clients? Because if you start with ideal clients, then you're thinking, no, I got to do what I need to do and what I love to do. Then I'll say, so who are the people that would best use this and I want to work with? When I talk about helping companies build their business, I talk about mission, vision, and values. You got to start with that, have a clear idea of what you want to be, how you want to do it, and then what are your value systems, whether it's integrity or quality service. What are those values that bring people from that base? Then you can build your operations, your HR services, and your clients. To me, that mission, vision, and values is a strong part of that development of growth.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so when you get to that, now once you figured out the problem and the unique solution, finding out who that ideal customer actually becomes easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because you've done that.
It flows naturally from those two.
Naturally. But also, what I tell people is it's replicable. You could copy the formula and bring it to other like businesses or this customer, because your solution, should be available not to one customer. It should be available to hundreds, dozens, thousands, whatever it is that you're offering. And so as a result, when you go to this ideal customer and you say, we've prevented it and we've sold it to X number of clients, it's harder for them to say, for new ones to say no, because you've already dealt with the problem and the uniqueness, and the same customers bought it already. They've tested it, they've vetted, because sadly, Hilda, in most businesses, people aren't leaders, they're sheep. They follow what others do in the industry before they jump on board. So if you've defined your ideal customer and you've sold it to them, replicating this success is easier. I'm not saying it's simple and it's going to happen automatically, but you'll watch your close rate go up. You'll watch people be more interested go up. Your marketing team will have a clarity of those three things we've just talked about. So when they communicate it, whether it's through websites, social media, advertising, trade shows, you name it, your sales team have an easier time in persuading people to work with you. It's a whole, it really simplifies the trek. The challenge becomes when you go to a new market or a new business category, what changes? And this is where ICP, the ideal customer profile, I mean, it's not anywhere and everywhere. Okay, it could be in Canada that, but in the US, because of laws, because of technology, because of a variety of the reasons, it might be a bit different. And their problem might be different. And your solution might be slightly different. But at the end of the day, the core, the essence of what you built out with these three will remain. And that's how the most successful companies have grown.
So well put, because I think it really is understanding the client to shift. And I think your example brought to mind, we talked earlier about Walmart and and taking over Woolco, which I'd
Yeah.
forgotten it was Woolco before it was Walmart. And then when Target, sorry,
Target
we
took over
like to
Zellers.
franchise it here, in our family
We're in
we called it
Canada. We can call it
Target.
Target.
You
No
know, and how
problem.
they, what was it, Zellers that they had,
They
and then
bought Zellers. Yeah,
they
they
bought
bought
the
Zellers.
Zellers, and then they came in, but they also left. And it is understanding the nuances as you either change an industry or change to a different country. You have to understand what that customer needs and wants if you want to be successful.
But you brought up two good examples of one of success, one of failure. And by the way, both, I can tell you from firsthand experience, Target looked into coming into Canada in the 90s and
Wow.
didn't come in until, a number of years ago. And Walmart, what they discovered, what the problem that they found was people were not happy because there wasn't the right inventory. They had a solution to what they provided, which was a full service, like the whole store was there, and what would their I mean, listen, we're all Walmart customers, so it's not like but because they provided such a great variety and had inventory and had great pricing, not the best, great pricing, because it was like a one-stop shop, they were attractive. And by the time Target came to Canada, there's nothing different.
Yeah.
But where they failed was they didn't realize that they didn't have inventory. They didn't continue to you have to have that continued relationship with the customers.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they got hurt. And so what I tell businesses is like, okay, you're not Target, you're not Walmart, but let's learn from their mistakes. Is that you need to consistently, as part of your business mind, you consistently solve the problem with your unique solution. It's a constant cycle, okay? And if you continue to do that, they're not going somewhere else. The loyalty will only be enhanced. The moment that cycle is broken or bumpy, you open the door to somebody else to provide their solution.
Yeah.
That's growth. That's sustainable growth.
You talk about your company providing strategy and execution. You've talked to many clients to help them grow. And I'm sitting here thinking about business owners. What do you do? Or let's ask different. What have you heard that stops them from getting that growth, right? So many people will come and then they'll say, I've tried this, I tried that, and nothing works. What advice would you give us as business owners to help us move that? Like we'll work on these 3 questions, but what are you hearing as they're trying to grow and build?
That's a whole podcast in itself almost, but I'll give you a quick summary of it. It's a lack of understanding of what you need to do to get to the first step of growth. And often it's like, I'll just hire another salesperson. Okay, why? Well, because we're going to test it. Now, a salesperson, Hilda, in Canada, US will cost you between $80,000 and $100,000. And you're going to put that person in a new market and you're going to say, go. No information, no resources, hardly training, and you're saying go, and we'll figure it out. Whatever you bring in, we'll figure it out. And then they wonder why there's no growth and why it's not sustainable. We lost money, and then they close the sales dollars. My first step with customers is really simple. Let's get a clear understanding of where you're going and why. First step, let's research the living daylights out of the new market. Are we able, with our 3 questions, does it still hold water? Do we have to modify anything? What does this market need? Now, I'll go to this construction company who's going into a brand new market. One of the questions we asked was, how will you service this new market? And they were like, wow, that is a serious question. We want to own service. We can own it in our current market. We're not sure how we're going to own it in the new market. And so you can't just, well, you could. You could try to throw something against the wall and hope it sticks, but that's costly. And that hurts your growth and hurts your bottom line. But research, understanding what your competition is doing, because there's new competitors, there are new nuances, there might be new regulations, there might be new opportunities you don't. Research, then execute. Then you adapt your strategy to execute that new market. Way better approach than we'll figure it out, we'll wing it.
Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of people say, okay, we need to grow. Let's hire a sales manager. But you as a business owner, hire them because you're not very good at sales managing, but you don't give them the tools. You haven't created those 3 strategy questions that we talked about earlier. And then they're given a script or at best they're given a script, but they don't understand enough about the organization. We don't orient them in their job to do it well, so that it's not likely as successful as stepping back and looking strategy, execution, and asking these key questions.
You know what I tell clients, and I'll tell you again, this could be a whole podcast in itself. But
in other words, you're asking if you're going to be invited back.
Yeah, no problem. But I'm saying it's like what I tell everybody is, look, if you've done your strengths, your weaknesses, and you looked at the opportunities and the threats, right? The SWOT analysis, the classic, whatever. Yeah. You look internally, you look externally in your current market. That's easy. Have you done that for the new market? That's a big step, because that'll open your eyes to saying, oh, wow, we've got more weaknesses here that we need to solve before we come here. Yeah. Or do I go do a joint venture? Or do I acquire a company? Or it's not just simple throw salesperson. It's, you got to do your homework.
Yep. Great. Well, yes, you're making me realize that we probably need a part 2 and dive deep, because you've given such great nuggets. Our goal today was to help you as business owners unlock that business growth by asking the 3 questions that you've dived deep into. So totally appreciate that. Other than coming to my podcast part 2, what's next for you, David?
Well, for me, what's next? I mean, it's look. Here's the thing. I mean, I'm very happy for people to come and reach out to me. I mean, I'm please reach out to me on LinkedIn. But I'm really, my whole world is through my website. Please visit me, and see the content on SEROgrowth.com, SERO Growth.com. I've got videos, I got articles out there, insights into how you can start your growth journey, how you can help your sales team, how you can find opportunities. You can email me at info@serogrowth.com. I'm more than happy to respond to any of the questions. And look, there's some future webinars coming out. There's some future conferences coming out. So yeah, looking forward to communicating with anybody who has any questions about growth.
And you've just started a podcast yourself?
I've started a few, actually, with a few people. We're talking about different topics. Like one is, fractional C's, what we call ourselves. We have chief financial officer. I'm a chief revenue officer. We're going to have other chiefs to explain why bringing fractional, part-time, if you will, individuals like myself in the different parts of the business are phenomenal and helpful for companies to grow. These are qualified consultants. They're not just yahoos, if you will. I'm also involved in another podcast called Fifth Level, where we're talking about high-level business needs that business owners are very, very much, they feel alone. These are everyday questions that business owners are asking themselves. So we're going to be launching season 1 very soon, where we're talking about what keeps you up at night. I hate that cliche, but what keeps you up at night? How you should be, like, really paradigm thinking from two business owners, and then we're going to start bringing in some guests with other information. So I've been very fortunate to launch my own, but I've also been involved in other ones. So yeah, we're getting around.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more about what you do and what others do as well. So appreciate you coming on today, and thank you very much for being a guest on Rev Up Your Business.
Thank you, Hilda. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And thanks to all those who are listening. If you like it, give us a thumbs up and follow us, because there's a lot of knowledge from the people that I bring on as guests to help you grow your business, for HR professionals to understand how they can make healthier workplaces. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you for tuning in to Rev Up Your Business with Hilda Gann. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and Spotify to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes. For more HR tips, strategies, and to learn how you can create a people-centric workplace, visit our website at peoplebrightconsulting.com.